All right, I think we're live. Anthony, here we are. We're on the Italy with Bella page on Facebook, and I just want to welcome everybody who's tuning in. Maybe you are joining us real time. Congratulations, you're probably the first one or two on, so welcome.
Hi, Mom.
Hi Mom. If you're catching this as a recording, thanks for joining us. Just want to give you a little bit of a welcome and talk about what we're doing here today. So this is the first time that we've done a live town hall meeting, and really the idea for this really came from you as our followers, as listeners, clients, all of that, who have questions about travel to Italy. If you are a veteran traveler to Italy, or you're dreaming about going there for the first time, no doubt you've got some questions in your minds, and you've shared a lot of those questions with us. This is an opportunity for us to hash out some of those things, talk about Italy, travel, and how to get here with a minimal amount of restriction and frustration this year. And so we want to help you do that, and we want to help you navigate. And so I just want to welcome you to the show today, the Town Hall show, if you will. And Anthony, who are you, and what are we talking about today? What are we going to dive into?
Hey guys, my name is Anthony from Italy with Bella. Thanks, Brian. I'm actually the owner and president, along with my wife Denise. And Brian actually works for us out in Sicily. He's a native Italian, dual citizen like me. And Italy with Bella is a company that we formed over 10 years ago. And we did it because of the love of Italy and what we want to show other people, our love for Italy, right? So I am, like I said, an Italian citizen. We owned a home there. And what makes us different at Italy with Bella is we do custom experiences, right? So every experience is tailor-made to your dream, your vision of what you think Italy is, right? So we get together as a team and we build your dream experience within your budget, and we do it really detailed. So when you land in Italy, you're basically painless, seamless, walking along the streets, and you're having an experience that most people are not having, right? It's something that we offer. If you would look at our reviews and if you were to talk to our references, you would see they've been there several times, or it's their first time, that their experience is totally different when you go with Bella. What's great about Bella is our team has over, I would say, 40 years of experience of living there, traveling there, owning a home there. So we have a small team, but a powerful team that knows Italy well, connected to all the right people, whether it's drivers, hotels, food, tour guides, just partners that we're friends with that most, I guess you would say, groups are not going to see, because we really tailor it to each travel that goes out to Italy. That's a little bit about us. Brian, what about you? I spoke a little bit about you. Tell us a little about you.
Yeah, so I've been over here since 2013, and a combined experience here between all of us, and including Denise and Patty, everybody on the team. I mean, we have owned homes, we've rented homes, we've traveled in every means possible, imaginable over here. And we keep coming back. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people have a dreamy idea about Italy. They get over here, and I'll say a lot of that is true. There's also, bureaucracy and language barriers and things like that. It can be a little bit intimidating coming to Europe for the first time. I know it was for me. I was very young, and I won't say how long ago. Is a very long time ago, a galaxy far, far away. But coming over here, I had the benefit of coming in the military first, and so everything was done for me. And they would, we'd drop off in some place and just go on excursions and just have a great time, and didn't worry about travel and bureaucracy and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, that kind of romantic, nostalgic idea is what we're after to create for our people. Like you said, that is, if not stress-free, extremely low stress, We deal with all the bureaucracy or hiccups, or, when there's a strike on, transportation, and we figure all that out. If right now during this season, because of the virus and things like that, there are restaurants that have closed, impromptu. That happens in the States as well. What do? You don't worry about it. We worry about it, and we take care of that, so that the experience for the client is that idea that a lot of us have in our heads when we come over for the first time, but we keep coming back. And Anthony, I want to get into this just a little bit about our first experiences, because I feel like there's something valuable here, especially if people are watching this broadcast and they've never been to Italy before. Tell us, tell everybody about that first experience. What was that like for you? What do you remember about coming over for the first time?
So coming over, I had my Italian citizenship, wanted to see family, but I was just more heritage, right? And thought I understood Italy, thought I understood my Italian heritage.
Because you come from the upper northeast
United
States, and you come
from
Italian background. Yeah.
So very, very slim knowledge of the language at the time and the culture, right? So when you go there, your first time, you're a tourist, right? No matter what your heritage is and what your citizenship says, right? So we went over there, but we fell in love with it. It was, I fell in love with it because it was like back home to the 10th to the 100th degree, right? It's food, it's the people, it's the history. And I always go back to a line that Jerry Seinfeld said on one of his episodes at Coffee and Cars. Italy is like a beautiful woman that never changes. No matter how many years it goes by, it's always the same. It's always beautiful. It never ages. And that's what I got out of it. The experience every time I go is new. I mean, Brian, you even living there, you'll go, say, hey, Ann, I'm going to check out this town. I think it was Bolzano. I love this town, right? And it's every experience, every town is a new experience. And we hear
it's new and the same at the same time.
Food's different, right? Or dialect different.
Little changes.
Some other bureaucracy.
Keeps it interesting.
But it's magical, right? And it's one of those countries. You can go to the mountains, you can go to the sea, you could go east to west in a certain amount of time, but every time you go, it's a new time. That's why I look at it. Every time is fresh to me, right? Yeah. And you'll hear that with customers that have been with us several times, right? And have done trips with them. The reason they come back to us is they can go to the big city and have a real experience where they feel like they're in, a little bit feeling like an Italian. They understand the culture because of what we trained them. Then the nooks and crannies, the smaller tours, the artisans, and then we'll put them in how to avoid them, how to avoid the tourist restaurants and certain traps, right? So, but our first trip, we were hooked, and and that's how we decided to buy a home there. That's how we decided to build this company. Because what was happening is they were having the same. My friends would go out to our home, and they would have this experience because we were able to give them that. We lived in a really small town in Umbria, and we gave them that experience, and we have to come back. We didn't realize.
You can feel like a local for the first time.
And then you realize Italy was like that. They always thought these three cities, Venice, Rome, and Florence, right? And those are our favorites too, a lot of times. So, but it was that kind of experience. It's just the community part of it, the history, the culture, the food. It's the package, right? Italy is just I've been to 30-something countries, right? I've never been to anything like Italy, right?
Yeah. In some sense, I had a conversation with a client not long ago, and I was relating, in some sense, Italy is like going to Disney World for adults.
Perfect, yes.
And every time you go, you get to just be a kid, in a certain sense. You just get to relax and enjoy on a level that very rarely do we get to do as Americans in America. And so those are some of the first experiences. Let's fast forward a long gap in time. Won't say how long, but to more recently, just a few months ago, we were all together as a team here in Italy, and you guys came over. What we've been doing recently on these trips, and we'll have another one coming up, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But on these trips, we were getting together in order to look at partnerships. Unlike a lot of tour guides and tour agencies who maybe they have a friend in a certain town and they have a little relationship and there's a little money that passes underneath the table. And if we bring a big busload of people to that restaurant, we get a kick. That is not what Italy with Bella is about. We're going and forming relationships, forming friendships and partnerships for a completely different scope. Talk about that. What does that look like? And it feeds into the experience that we want our people to have. So what does that look like?
So it's funny you say that, Brian, you were with us on that last trip, right? You came up from Sicily and we did a small, let's say, tour into Bologna. I think it was Cortona. I can't remember. Rome. We did a southern Tuscany and actually Venice too. And we do Verona. Yeah. So we really reach out to partners that will deal with small groups like us that are tailored to what our customers are looking for an experience. And what partners love about it is we don't ask for money, right? We go there and we say, we want to be true partners, but we try everything ourselves. I always tell our customers, you're not sleeping in a bed unless we slept in it.
You're not doing something that we wouldn't do or haven't already done.
Exactly. And that's what we do. And so our trip there, even though it's a lot of work, and I always tell people this, we ran a lot, but you poor guys, right? You always
enjoyed a lot too, I think.
Food and wine you had travails you have to go through. No, but so this trip was, more speaking Italian, was more getting in depth into what it was like in each town, finding out the streets, finding out our favorite restaurants. I mean, Brian would pick out a restaurant, we'd try it out, we'd check it off, we loved it. We check out a pizza place or a place that we can get a mixture of cheese and meats, and we'd sit down and have a glass of wine. Check that off. And that's the kind of the trips we do. And then we meet with our tour guides and we try to partner with them. And once they're on board, we become really strong partners with them. We can communicate with them really well, whether it's, hey, our customer is here, you need to move and pick them up here. It's very tight. And we don't spread ourselves thin. We pick one or two partners in a region, one or two drivers that we can lean on and be partners with. And like I said, they love us because we're not going through travel agencies and getting commissions off of them. We deal directly with them. We build friendships and partnerships. And you'll see that in the future. Like I think Brian and I are going to put a lot of our partners on podcasts to learn about the region, what they do, how Italy looks like. Do
you want to mention just one or two of these? Because these are not, as I said before, these are not your ordinary kind of tour guides that, they're holding up an umbrella as you're walking through the Vatican. We're walking, follow me, don't touch anything. It's not like that. This is a very personal, tailored experience. What is that like? Who are these people that we are hand picking for our clients? What is this person?
A prime example is Denise, even during COVID, was talking to our friend Ava. Ava is our tour guide in Rome. In Rome. Okay. Fluent in English, has a master's in history and Greek and Roman history background. Very, very outgoing and loud, which is nice because when you're in the Vatican with a mask, you can hear her. Her English is great. And she's a friend now, right? She, we don't have to worry about, when we pay or how we pay. She's like a part of the family, right? So when she does a tour, it's the two people that are going, maybe it's a couple, or it's the couple and 7 other friends. It's not the couple and 8 other people that they don't know, right? So it's actually that kind of tour. It's like, hey, these are the 2 people you're doing today. Fine, I'm good with that, right? Yeah. Or it's 10 people, but it's always that group. You belong to that tour guide. It's not
the larger family and maybe 2 friends, and they're all traveling together.
20 people, right? We're not doing that. Ava doesn't do that. And we did the same thing in Bologna with Alessandro. We had our group, picked us up in a limo car, and we met with them, and that was Bologna. We did Parmigiano Reggiano, we did balsamic vinegar, we did prosciutto, and it was tremendous. I mean, you know how good it was, Brian. I mean, he was there. We smiled across. It was an all-day event.
I'm still crying about that.
Eating and drinking all day. And Alessandro, by the end of the day, we're best friends. We're dancing. Everyone was dancing together. It was just an experience most people don't get.
I just have to, let me just put a shameless plug for Italy in general, because, I've been to Sonoma, been to Napa, wine country all around. I've been to wine country all over Italy. Coming here to Italy is just, it's a different animal altogether, but it is so much more immersive and the experience is so much richer. You need an expert like an Eva or your friend in Umbria, because just to build a little contrast, you're going from the Colosseum in Rome to a little backwater, tiny hilltop town. What is that experience like, and who is that partner that you have?
Yeah. So when we had our home in Umbria, we lived high up on a hill in Pasciano, right next to Panicale. Pasciano was so small, we had to walk a mile or drive a mile to the next hilltop town. I always compare it to like two Lord of the Ring towns and walled cities, right?
Yeah.
And we go there, and our friend Vittorio and Patrizia, we became really close friends with them, good friends, and their kids, they're in the wine business. They're Psalms. They own their own restaurants in Amsterdam. And it was just a different experience. There's two restaurants, there's one bar. You get up in the morning, you hear the people talking. I can remember a couple of guests staying at their apartments, and they would open their windows, and they would do their laundry, put their laundry out for the day, right? And they could hear the women calling their dogs, and every morning, and people, bouncing off the walls. That's the experience you don't get maybe in Rome, because everything's busy and loud, right? But it's a small town, and you go out, and everyone from that town's out that night, right? And
they say hi, and everybody knows each other. And after 2 or 3 days, you're a local, and you're walking around, and you say hi.
You go in the same cafe, the same restaurant, and it's a great experience. And what's great about that area too is you can bop around from town to town and go have little different experiences on these little towns. And you don't get as much English there too, which gives you, hey, I got to hone up and try a little bit more, and really get you into that, that, hey, I feel like an Italian, or I feel, this is what Anthony was talking about, Brian was talking about, that experience of, I'm really, I'm outside of Rome, and I'm really getting a feel for different food, different probably dialect, different culture. And, it's just like Umbria, we always try to get people to try that experience, not just Umbria, but other towns.
A bit of a hidden gem.
Yeah, little hidden gems. So when they come back from that trip, they weigh, all right, how many days the next time we come, right? When we talk to Anthony and Brian and Patty and Denise, what do we do? How many days do we do in Umbria next time? And then we go to Tuscany for maybe a wine tour. So that's what we try to do. We try to blend the experience, right? Larger cities, and because everyone that comes to us has this vision, and we don't try to keep them off that vision of what they want to do, but we have ideas. We can still do that, but let's try this, and it still will meet their, their vision.
And they're coming away with a much richer, deeper experience than they ever imagined, because I mean, we're the ones that. We have some experience over here, and we have the partnerships. And so we can actually remove that fear factor of going to a smaller town where they speak less English, because they're in good hands. Every step of the way, they're following an itinerary. They have an app with them. They've got somebody in country to call on if they get stuck for whatever reason in that itinerary. They can speak out and get help, and it's no problem. So we take that fear factor away. We let them enjoy and immerse. And I think that's a huge difference between what the normal experience of tourism in Italy is like. And we're also helping them find those hidden gems, the real Italy that we like to say. And so, drawing from all of that experience, and we mentioned this trip that's coming up in April. That's why we continue to travel, and we don't stop. We continue to push deeper. We continue to push our partnerships. And they become, like you say, family, and they know that the clients that we send to them are top clients that want a real experience. They're not doing the mass tours and, in just the big cities. They want to experience what real Italy is like. And so with all of that said, there are, within the last couple of years, there are some concerns that have grown out of restrictions and some of the, things in general in the EU that have made it, let's just say, have put some obstacles for, especially for Americans coming over. And so what I want to say first and foremost up front is that Italy is open. It's actually stayed open. I've been here in and out of lockdowns, and tourism has continued to go. It's made things more difficult. It's changed the way that we do some things, but because we continue to interact living here and traveling here. We know the ins and outs of all of that. And so we're excited to tell our clients how to navigate. But the first thing that everyone needs to know is that Italy is absolutely open. So with that said, where are we now? What does it look like in 2022 to travel from the US here to Italy? We just had some clients, if I'm not mistaken,
come back this week.
Come over just a week or two ago. They just finished their trip here in Italy. They went back to the States. What was that experience like from them?
Well, it's funny. That's the family out of Ohio. We do get customers all over the country, and they had a beautiful trip. And basically, I'm reading a quote that he sent to me after the trip was over. Had a great experience, even with some requirements for visiting public venues. We had a great attitude. People had a great attitude. All the Italians were amazing. We met wonderful, fun individuals and enjoyed the whole experience. We had to wear masks indoors and outdoors, but they came off once we sat down. All you have to do is present your papers, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. And I want to talk about that because we're talking about 2022. 3 months ago when we were there, before some of the changes, we still had to show papers, right? Mm-hmm. The biggest difference now is the mask on the streets, right? And I think that will change eventually. We see it last year at this time, mask, and then I think eventually it'll dwindle. But the people are having great experiences. And the reason I say that is a lot of people aren't coming, not that are not coming, but there's certain blocks of people that are not coming. So it's a little more freer. Italians are very, very happy to see Americans, right? Mm-hmm. They are, because we are smiling and spending money, and we're positive. And what's different is, it's the mask, right? So, but this couple right there, loved their trip. The weather was great. The restrictions didn't bother them. The lines weren't long.
Right, because you don't have a lot of those larger buses showing up with 30 people and walking around with an umbrella and annoying the heck out of everybody. You don't have a lot of that. What you have is, groups like ours, which are handpicked, a couple or a family, a couple of friends getting together and going on a trip to Italy. They're coming over and they're enjoying it because, of course, the weather is great. The restaurants are so happy to see Americans come in and sit down and enjoy the food. And so there is a completely different kind of experience that's happening when most people may be sitting back in the States going, no, everything's locked down. It is not locked down. There is no lockdown. It's open for tourism. Absolutely.
It's almost like in the States when you think of different states you can go to and come and go, right? Where almost like California would be a state. I'm not going to go there, but it's locked down. Well, it really isn't. There's rules and stipulations. Florida, wherever you're going to go, right? Yep. Italy is open. It is. It's wide open. It's just there's certain stipulations, right? And if we teach you what those stipulations, what is need, we prepare you if it's a COVID or a test on the way there or on the way back, right? We take care of that, right? So you walk in, you know exactly what you need to walk in with, right? Paper-wise, and what to come home with, right? So
and some of that's going to be answered around the itinerary that you and Denise build for our clients. It's going to be answered by that because it's impossible to say in just general terms, all of Italy is like this.
Yes,
that's one misconception about Italy is there is no just this is Italian cuisine. What does that mean? Yeah. There's no just Italian experience. There's an experience of going to Lazio and going to Rome. There's an experience of going into Tuscany and doing some of the hilltop towns or to visit Florence. And those are completely different. So it really depends on where you want to go, what you want to do. And we're going to build that itinerary that satisfies those curiosities, those desires, gives you the experience that you want. But every region is going to have its own series of obstacles or restrictions, and we're going to help clients navigate that. So that is not an issue.
Yes, I totally agree. And you will be well prepared. And there's those restrictions are, it's different for vaccinated and unvaccinated. It's different for people that have had COVID recovery. And we can go into that or not go into that, but we definitely address that, right? We know all the rules. Once again, Brian's there. I know all the rules. My wife, Pat, we know all the rules to what's going on. Even February 1st is a new stipulation coming out. But it's still open and still available to go. And once you do talk to us, I do realize that. And, an example this week, and I like to bring it up, is we had a couple that, they weren't vaccinated and they wanted to go. All right. They called us back a week later. We're getting over COVID. All right. Sorry. That's great. You can go now. You just need a piece of paper. Most people don't know those rules, right? And then you can just go freely walk about with that piece of paper. So, so I think restrictions are there just like it is in the state, but it's actually open more. It's not as crowded. It's a perfect time to go. And it's just knowing what those are, and that's what we walk you through.
And just to hit on that, we'll talk in just a moment about some of the best seasons. When are some of the best travel times to go? But like we said, I mean, even out of season, you can come over here and have a great experience. Just like our clients 2 weeks ago here in the middle of January, they came over and have a great experience. But before we get to the seasonality aspect and then how people can actually book a free consultation, I want to address some of the specific questions that we've received. We received these through our Facebook, through Instagram. How else? I forget if there was an email. People responded to our newsletter, because we have a newsletter, an e-blast that goes out weekly that helps keep people informed. Let's dive into some of those questions and tackle some of them. What was the first one that we had, Ant?
All right. I am interested in planning a family trip to Italy this year and would love to engage you guys. What is the best way to get started? Would you prefer I schedule a call or fill out a form first?
Okay, good question.
So on that, thanks for the question. On our website, we have a...
What is the website, by the way?
Our website, thank you, Brian. www.italywithbella.com.
That's difficult. Okay.
See that one up.
Say that again. Italywithbella.com. That's super easy.
Italywithbella.com.
Super easy.
So you go on there and it says plan your experience. You click on the button and then it'll bring up a calendar, and you can just click on the time you want to meet with us. We'll do a Zoom call or a phone call. It's usually about an hour, and we just sit and we talk about what your dreams are, what your aspirations are, what do you want to get out of the trip, and we talk about budget, how many days, and then we have a form you fill out too, whether it's trains, planes, automobiles. What do you want to do there? What do you want to you want to stay in 5-star hotels, or do you want to have the experience of living in an apartment Airbnb? So we kind of, want to get that before we get on the call, and then we drill down and we build a trip together, and then we build a proposal. So first step is just to go onto the website, italywithbella.com, click on plan my experience, and put it on the calendar. And once you put it on the calendar, we'll talk, and it's a free consultation. It's about an hour. It can be longer than that. We don't care. And then we'll meet several times with that. We'll build out a proposal, and you go over it and say, oh, I like that. I like that. Let's tweak this. And we retweak it. And then we go from there. So, but it's yours. You kind of own it, and we'll guide you and say, I don't think you should do this. Let's do this. You didn't realize the train is too long of a process or this and that.
Right.
So, but yeah,
that's some of the invaluable experience that comes in, knowing, days of the week, holidays, when things are going to be shut down, how to navigate when there's a strike. That experience of, okay, if you're at this hotel in this part of the city, you're going to have this kind of experience. But if we put you over here instead, this is going to be, and then they get to choose the path that they want to have, the experience that they want to have, but they're being guided through that by people who know the ins and outs of the language, the culture, the scenery, the cities that we're going into and out of, and then how to get in between, how to go from point A to point B seamlessly without a lot of stress and frustration. And they arrive, they're fresh, they're ready to have another immersive experience in a new town every single time. Imagine that kind of a vacation. Have you ever had a vacation like that? I mean, it makes me want to sign up, and I live here, and it makes me want to sign up and go to the website and have this kind of an experience planned out for me. So that's great.
That's a good call, because I look at Venice, our last trip, and you were with us, and we had 2 customers with us, right? And as you know, Venice can be very crowded, and it could be very touristy. And where we stayed, if you remember, we were near the university, at the Santa Croce area, right? It was quieter. It was more locals, even at night, whether it was getting a drink or getting a sandwich or whatever. It was away from the crowds, but it was only 10 minutes to get to Rialto Bridge, right?
Yep.
And And actually, one of our other customers came right after us, Tony. She said the same thing. Her experience in Venice, because of where we put her and what she ate and all of that, it was totally different. So, and even for my wife, Denise, it was just an experience that we've been to Venice a lot. And we kept trying different areas. And that we felt was the best area. We finally figured this is where we can keep people where they're getting a real Venetian experience or an Italian experience. So exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, imagine somebody spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in order to experience and experiment and figure out, oh, don't do this instead. And then is bringing you all of that knowledge for your itinerary. I mean, that's gold. That's just gold. So moving on, what other questions did we have that came in? What else can we answer while we're on this broadcast today?
I am anxious about international travel since health restrictions. What would you recommend?
Okay. Yeah. So I'll speak just for my experience over here. Getting into and out of Italy is one concept. The other concept is what you do while you're actually here. We call it just in circulation. And you're going from point A to point B inside domestic travel inside of Italy. So let's deal with that first one. Getting into Italy itself. I've been in and out during 2019, 2020, 2021, and not yet for 2022, but I mean, we're still in January, give me time. So every year I've been in and out several times. And what I can say is it changes every year. It's not difficult. And while all of those changes keep it interesting, because a lot of times even the airlines don't know what's happening, if you stay with a group like us and you follow our Facebook, if you follow our forthcoming podcasts that we'll talk about in a minute, if you're on the newsletter, if you stay with a group like us, we're going to keep you informed so that you have a very, very, very low level of frustration and a very high level of expectation so that you are well informed and well prepared to navigate that. You get in and it's almost like it depends on where you go, but it's so relaxed over here you wouldn't know that you're back in the EU and there's restrictions. I mean, we talk about, you mentioned earlier, the mandate in some regions to wear a mask in public and crowded public spaces. We very rarely see that. I mean, and I've been several times to Naples and Florence just in the last couple of weeks. Here, traveling around in Sicily, you're not seeing a lot of those things, even though they're getting publicity on a national level. As you travel around, things are I'll just say quite relaxed over here. And so again, we want people to have a very low level of frustration, a very high expectation to know what to expect so that they're prepared. They have low frustration when they come in and they're in circulation over here. So to those health restrictions, what else would you say? Because you guys are the ones that are helping build the itineraries. You're looking at the regions. Is there anything else that people just need to know in general? Because as you mentioned, restrictions are going to change on February 1st, and it's different region to region, but things are becoming more relaxed. But if they were to come over this weekend, here we are at the end of January, what would they expect? What would you be advising them?
So I'm going to get really into the simple steps of what to expect. As a customer, you're going to have to fill out a PLF form, which is just a simple form. Where are you going? I am flying out of Atlanta.
It's a location form.
Yeah, location form. I'm gonna fill out. I'm flying from Atlanta into Rome. Okay. Have you been in contact with someone in the last 14 days? No. Okay. And it's a couple other general questions, family name, and that's it. And you give that to the airline, right? The airline's also going to want to see a negative test. Everyone has to do that going into Europe.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter if you're vaccinated, unvaccinated, over COVID, doesn't matter. That being said, so that's what you have to show. So vaccine card, recovery, or a negative test.
Okay.
All right, with the PLF. Then you fly in, you land. When you land there, once again, Italy's strange. You could have some people at customs, they don't ask for any forms, and you just walk right through.
What we mean by strange is that it's hit or miss, and it depends on the person you're talking to at the time. Even they can be a real stickler for the rules, or they can not care at all about the rules, and you got to be prepared for both. as long as you're prepared, though, and I think this is a key point that I keep trying to stress in different ways.
Mhm.
If you are prepared, if you have a high level of expectation of, you know what to expect, and you're prepared for X, but it comes in much more relaxed, you're on easy street.
Exactly.
You know, you're going to have a great time. What happens, though, if people aren't prepared when they come over and they hit those, you know, those obstacles, and they weren't prepared for them, they didn't have any kind of expectation, they get frustrated, and it can, you know, be a little bit of wear and tear, and they don't enjoy the experience like they could coming to Italy with Bella.
No, I agree. And so far, cross our fingers, it's been smooth. I mean, you know, you have the things we can't control, a strike on a train, right?
Sure.
But we take care of that. But yeah, so, you know, that is basically the rules right now, right? And of course, each town, I mean, each region will have mask restrictions where you got to wear a mask outside. And that'll change on February 1st. You know, they will change something, whether it's on the vaccine rules and the booster rules. But, you know, we have ways that we work with their rules, right? Whether it's you got over the virus, right? Or you are vaccinated in a certain date, right? So, but we have my wife's sending me questions. I'm sorry. What can they do during after
Denise?
What can they do during and expect after departure? All right,
Okay.
we'll take care of that for departure. So I think the rules. I'm not used to this. I'm used to it when regular conversation, getting interrupted. But we'll hit on that. Denise could always interject. So that being said, you know, I think once you're on the ground, we know the regions. We'll tell you what to expect, and you'll know because of each color. You know, they got white regions, which Umbria is right now, and
Each
in
region
yellow,
has its own level.
Yeah, it's a level. It's like a stoplight. You know. But you know, I think we keep you informed what to expect. Make sure you have your mask with you. Make sure you have your vaccine card, your recovery paper with you, and we'll tell you where it's expected and where it's needed. It's different for a supermarket than it is for a train, right? Or it's different for a restaurant, or it's different for going to a pharmacy, right? We teach you that. So,
let me just interject right there, because I'll come back to that analogy about Italy being Disney World for adults. I actually know some people that went to Disney World after coming to Italy, and they said it was so much worse going to Disney World than it was coming to Italy. So I just want to say, for those that are a little wary of the experience coming here to Italy, look, don't worry about it. I mean, even when we've had restaurants that maybe they had to close because I know one of the staff was in contact, with somebody, and so just out of safety, they closed down the restaurant. The client doesn't have to worry about that. And sometimes they don't even know that we've taken that call from the restaurant. We've pivoted, we changed, we rebooked somewhere else so that the client experiences are very fluid. So we take care of all of that for them. So if that's an obstacle in your mind for what's holding you back from going to the website, ItalyWithBella.com, clicking on that, free consult, if there's an obstacle, probably we've already navigated that, thought through that process. We have an answer, we have a resolution for you. And so at least come and find out, because more times than not, we've already resolved that for other clients.
And you're right. I mean, we can't delve into every scenario, right? We don't know what the family situation looks like, right? We need to understand that. And so, please hit us up for a free consultation at our ItalyWithBella.com, and we'll talk about it and we'll walk through it, and then we'll put you at ease, or you'll say, all right, that's a hurdle I wasn't aware of. We can take care of that, or I don't want to right now, but at least you're getting an understanding of our knowledge, what it takes to go there, and how open it is. And I think that's important to learn and know from us. Just that free consultation will put you at ease.
Absolutely. Yep. So we're going to start wrapping up here in just a moment. The last thing that we want to hit before we start that wrap up is to talk a little bit about that seasonality. If somebody's going, okay, you've convinced me that it's open, that we can navigate, the restrictions and everything with relative ease. I'm going to put that to rest. So now I'm starting to think, okay, but when would I want to go? When should I go to Italy? What would you guys say? When's the best in tra virgolette, okay, between the little quotation marks, what's the best time to go to Italy? What's your response?
Always.
Always.
But I'll get a little more specific, right?
Okay.
I think it all depends on what you want to get out of the trip, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there
It's
are
gonna be
times,
tailored.
exactly. Yeah. So is it truffle season? Do you want to be there, in the, the September, October timeframe, right? Do you want to be there in wine season? And if it's wine, of the, picking of the grapes and the making of the wine, do you want to be there then? Then what part of the regions are actually doing that? We know that, right? If it's in the South, it's earlier. In the North, it's when it gets colder, it's different.
Well, and then even in the South, like I'm here on Mount Etna, our
Mhm.
harvest tends to be October, which
Yep.
is a little bit later because we're at higher altitude. But
Yeah.
you've got to know people who know that kind of information in order to tailor the itinerary for the people, and that's what people get when they come to Italy with Bella.
Yeah, and it's a perfect example. We were talking about Umbria before. My friend's restaurant in November, it's closed. And all the town's restaurants are closed because they're on vacation or they worked hard for 9 months. So, but honestly, my favorite times to go is May and September, October. Those are my favorite. I think we all agree on that. But
I think you hit that pretty much yearly.
Yes.
May or April or May, and then coming over September, October.
September, October. So with those 4 months, but customers just came back, like I said, and they're coming back from the Christmas holidays. You have Christmas markets that we don't have in the United States, right? They're just beautiful outdoor markets, festivals that you'll not see. It's an experience, right, that you don't get, right? And
people can see more of that, by the way, going to our Instagram, Italy with Bella Instagram. Some of those pictures are on the Facebook, but most are going to be on our Instagram. If they want to scroll through, they can actually see what you're talking about. Some of the pictures, some of them I took on my recent trip back in December, going to some of those Christmas markets. Obviously, right now, in the middle of, we're at the end of January, beginning of February, we're midwinter, but we just had clients that came back from mid-January and had a fantastic time. So it just depends on where you want to go, what you want to experience. There's something here that's open for everyone. Yeah.
And then you got Valentine's Day in Verona, Romeo and Juliet, right? I mean, there's all, we can build, a itinerary that, hey, it's a romantic time. Let's go to Venice and Verona, right? That's a beautiful, and then maybe go to Lake Como or Lake Garda, right? And have that, that kind of trip. And you can do that during February, right? Yeah. So every month offers something. There's always a festival, right? There's always a time that something is happening in Italy, right? And so, like I said, these couple, they were in January, it was 55 degrees. That's not bad weather. I mean, you can't sit outside, at every single bar and restaurant. But the only time I really don't recommend is August. It's hot. A lot of Italians are on vacation. Only the big cities are really open to full capacity because they're tourist cities. I really, that's my feeling, is not to recommend August, but of course you still can have a great time, right?
Yeah, if you know where to go.
Yeah, if you're just going to know where to go, right? So, well, Brian, what would you add for seasonality? What's your thoughts if I missed anything there?
I don't know. I mean, I've lived here all the seasons, so there's always something to go and do. I mean, it really depends on the person and what their interests are. And that's another, again, I can't, reiterate this enough with Italy with Bella. What they're getting is a tailored experience for what their interests and expectations are. So I don't know that there's necessarily a season that I wouldn't recommend. I know for me, I try to choose August for going back to the States. I think it's easier to navigate in the States. It can be crowded in years past. August can be crowded, and you can find a lot of restaurants that are closed down. But it's not necessarily the rule. And especially here in the South, we're learning how to be accogliente, how to welcome clients and be more hospitable for tourists who are coming in. And so I think that's something that Italy is starting to do better. So I would just put this plug. If you've been to Italy, let's say a decade ago, probably some of what you'll see that's different nowadays is that Italy has become more user friendly. Where in times past it could be a little bit challenging, it has become more open, but there's still so much going on and so much to know. And I think that's one reason people want to stay connected, which brings us to this part of the broadcast, talking about how can people stay connected. Let's just go through the litany. Correct me if I'm wrong or if I missed something, but we can go to the website first and foremost, ItalyWithBella.com, get on your free consultation. They can also sign up for our e-blast. We have an e-blast that goes out once a week, and we're giving you tips and tricks. We're telling you how to stay connected to Italy with Bella. You're going to get the news on a weekly basis. Of course, you've got the Facebook. You're looking at that right now. You've got Instagram as well. And we also have a new podcast that's under development. Did you like that? We've got a new podcast that's under development right now. It'll probably hit at the first part of March we're in the planning stages, and it's being produced right now. But the podcast, and we'll have a link on our Facebook and on our website for that. So you'll be able to see that really fine. If you want to go to Spotify, you can actually become one of the first to subscribe and to follow, and you'll be notified as soon as our first podcast episode launches. But there's already an introduction on there. The name of the podcast itself is Bella Italy, just Bella Italy. You'll be able to find us on Spotify, but don't worry, there'll be a link on Facebook and on the website. So there's a bunch of different ways. It doesn't matter your age, your demographic, what you tend to do. We probably have a presence on some platform that people can plug into. But I'd say, being able to talk to you and Denise about their trip is one of the biggest reasons to just take the dive now. It doesn't cost anything. It's not this kind of a, come up for a free lunch and we're going to give you it's not a bait and switch. Yeah. It's not, timeshare kind of concept. These are really just two people that are absolutely in love with Italy, and they want to help you, create your dream vacation, your dream itinerary to come over here and experience Italy like a local. And so the best thing that people can do is go to ItalyWithBella.com and click on that free consult. Is there anything that I missed? Anything else that we could say about how to stay connected? We'll probably have another town hall next month. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, there's plenty of ways and platforms for people to feel connected. Am I right?
Yeah, and you also got Ciao at ItalyWithBella.com if you want to do a quick email to us too.
Yeah. Right? Ciao. How do you spell Ciao? Just for those that may not know.
CIAO, I believe.
That was really a test for Anthony. You passed.
Patty's on. Probably smart. All right.
Yeah, Patty, our Italian teacher, is going bravi. You're all very good. Okay, good.
So, but you're right. So the free consultation, I want to hit on that is, we have a lot of customers that have planned their trip 90%. They're coming off a cruise, and we help them at the beginning of the cruise, before they get on, or after they get off. And we kind of help them on both sides. So if they have a planned trip, we'll do a free consultation to help them prior or post. So we do that too. A lot of people going to Italy.
No one else is doing that. No one else can do that.
Yeah, so we're doing that. Okay.
We are doing that. Yeah.
Right.
I love it. I love what we bring to the table. I love what we do, guys. It's a pleasure to work with you guys.
We love it. We love our customers. They become, like most Italians, they become friends after we spend time with them and do a trip with them. I'm talking to Denise. Did I miss anything?
No, you guys
hit everything.
Everything.
Thank you.
I think
Denise is in the background.
Someone needs to know.
All right. If you got any other questions, you can put them in the comments as well. I know we'll be on and we'll be able to answer some of those. You can feel free to reach out even after this broadcast has ended. The recording will be available on the Facebook, and you can respond later on, and we'll be happy to try to answer those questions in a personal direct message as well.
Yes, definitely. It was great, guys. Brian, appreciate you putting this together. This was fun, actually. I think it was enjoyable.
It was fun for us. I don't know about the experience for everybody.
Fell asleep back to bed.
We spend all of our time, creating the experience for everybody else. This one was for us.
Exactly. All right, but yeah, I think we can go deeper. Someone wants to hit us on the email or the website, and you want to, hey, you hit on some things, but I'd love to go deeper and ask more questions. We'd love to talk with you.
We can do that in a direct message. We can also take care of that on the next town hall meeting coming up next month.
True.
So
True.
It was great. Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening and for tuning in today to the Italy with Bella Town Hall meeting. Again, you can find us at italywithbella.com. And if you're on Spotify, you can search for Bella Italy. It's a brand new podcast. We've only got an introduction up. We'll have some episodes coming your way in just a month or so. We're excited about that. In the meantime, we want to help you stay connected, stay informed, and get your free consultation. Go to italywithbella.com for all of that. Thank you, guys, and we will see you online live next time.
Thank you. Arrivederci.
Ciao.
Ciao. Stop. Leave studio. There you go.